Welcome, attendees. Thank you for joining us for this webinar introducing you all to Pandora's AMP Creator Tools. My name is Tisha Naipaul. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and by way of a visual description, I am a woman with long brown hair, brown skin. I'm wearing a white sweater, purple Bose headphones, and pink glasses. I am the Membership and Development Coordinator for Folk Alliance International. Before we begin, let's take a moment to note that we are joined today by folks from around the globe and to collectively recognize the importance, complexity, and difficulty of offering land acknowledgements in the context of online organizing, creation, and collaboration. I am joining you from the indigenous land of the Osage, Kansa, Kaw, Kickapoo, and Oceti-Sakowin nations, also known as Kansas City. We invite you to not only join in acknowledging our shared responsibility to work towards reconciliation, but to commit to taking personal, meaningful, and measurable action towards healing the legacies of colonization, forced migration, and cultural erasure. If you'd like to learn more about the Indigenous legacy of the land you are on, we'll drop a link in the chat to help you explore further. So, with that grounding in mind, let's start today's session by introducing our lovely panelists. We have Andy Connors, sorry, Pandora's Senior Manager of the Creator Services Team and Head of Metal, Punk, Experimental, and New Age. Alongside Andy, we have Michelle Solomon, who is the Senior Operations Manager, Catalog and Creator Services, Head of Jazz, Oldies, and Legacy and Stage and Screen Programming. So, welcome, Andy. Welcome, Michelle. I'll let Shell
Hey,
take it away.
Thank you so much.
cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone taking time out of their day. For a little background, I guess for a little back. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My pronouns are he, his, him, her, him, his. I don't say them out loud very often. And for a visual description, I am now very much a mountain man with a big white beard. And just coincidentally, not on purpose, I'm wearing a Folk Alliance t-shirt from last
Ah,
year. Because it's my favorite shirt and I wear it all the time. And Drew this morning just told me I had to take it off so she could wash it. Drew is my partner. I also used to run a record store in San Francisco called Aquarius. That was my former life. I was there for 22 years. If you're interested in record stores and or a nerd about music, there's a documentary called It Came from Aquarius Records that's on Amazon if you want to watch it. Or you can always email me and I'll just send you a link for free to watch it. And yeah, and I'm a drummer and a musician because I know those aren't the same thing to most people. Um, I play in two bands, and my band from the '90s is currently reuniting to play a bunch of festivals and celebrate the 30th anniversary of our first album coming out, which means I'm extremely old uh, as a visual representation, old man. Um, so yeah, so we'll get going. Let me share my screen. Also, if you have any questions, Michelle and I, whoever's not presenting, will be watching the Q&A and answering questions. So feel free to interrupt at any time with a question about anything Pandora related, cat related, movie related, music related, doesn't even matter.
can I introduce myself real quick?
Oh yeah, I thought we were going to do it separately, but we can do it all at once.
Oh, okay.
Go for it. Go
Yeah.
for it.
I mean, just so we don't disrupt the flow of the
Yeah.
webinar, of course. Yeah, real quick. Thanks, Andy. My name is Michelle Solomon. My pronouns are she, her, and by way of visual description, I have shoulder length black hair and bangs. I'm wearing glasses and I'm wearing a green sweater. As mentioned, I'm senior operations manager on this amazing creator services team. I also am a programmer. I'm the face of jazz, oldies, legacy, stage and screen. And I am joining you from the unceded ancestral homeland of the Ohlone people, also known as Oakland, California, which is where Pandora was headquartered and founded. I have been with Pandora for it'll be 20 years next month, making me not quite as old as Andy, but still pretty old. Um, But
Burn, burn.
I'm not burning. I'm appreciating. I also come from a musical background as well. I studied voice and piano from childhood and spent my early years as a theater kid, performing in musicals and operas all through college. And I worked at a record store, my first job out of college, followed by Pandora. Outside of Pandora, music is still my world. I'm an all vinyl DJ, been for over a decade. I have a partner who plays in multiple bands, so I'm always at a local venue supporting his bands, or just behind the decks. Yeah, music is my life.
I
All
should
right, you can
always
get
let
started.
I should always let you go first because you're like you got the pro intro and I'm always like kind of winging it. So if you go first, then I know all the beats that I need to hit. So next time.
Next time.
Let me share my screen. You guys can all everybody can see my screen?
Yeah, looks good.
All right, let's get rolling. Um Again, thanks everybody. This is an introduction to AMP. AMP at one point stood for Artist Marketing Platform, but as we heard from a lot of artists, marketing is gross and marketing is something people don't like doing, even though it's a necessary evil. So now it's just AMP. AMP is our set of our suite of creator tools. Uh, I'll I'll get more into I'm going to go into what each tool is. Sorry, it's early for me. What each tool is, why you should use them, why you should be excited about them, what they do, and then I'm going to hand it over to Michelle to actually show you what AMP looks like and what the tabs look like and sort of walk you through the actual sort of interface. But before we get to that, I really wanted to take a second to go over our mission and our vision. Some of you, I recognized a few names in the chat, and so some of you will know this already. But for the newbies, I like to share this. Um, and for the non-newbies, I appreciate you coming again and maybe refreshing what we've talked about in the past, either here in webinars. But our mission as a team is to support creators like you and to help you succeed. We do that by offering these tools, which are absolutely free. There's no paywall. There's nothing we talk about today that costs money or requires any sort of subscription. We offer tons of support. You'll see as we go, like I will give you my email. You'll be able to email me. We have a whole team that's dedicated to helping you and helping you troubleshoot, uh, deal with any issues you might have, even outside of Pandora. We're very, everyone on this team is a musician or a singer or has worked in a record store or has been in the music industry for years and years. And so we are very well qualified to help you with anything, even, if you have questions about touring or royalties or getting a booking agent. So we really like to make ourselves available to all of you because we're all also musicians. So we've been in that position where like, oh, how do you reach a human being? And you can't. And that's really endlessly frustrating. A big part of what we do is help you connect with fans and sort of really strengthen those connections, make those connections more personal, more intimate. Um, Beyond that, help you discover and reach new fans. And then the cycle continues, and then create strengthen those connections, find new fans, repeat, repeat, repeat. And really, we're all here, we're all surviving, but the goal is to help you all thrive. Um, and that's sort of always been the goal. Um, Before we get into the actual tools, I want to mention that even though Pandora is only available in the US, which means technically you can only listen as a US citizen, AMP is available anywhere in the world. AMP is not an app, it's actually a website, and you can log into AMP anywhere in the world. You can run campaigns, you can use the tools, you can see your data from anywhere. So definitely don't be intimidated by the fact that it's US only. We have a massive listening audience in the US, and so if you're looking to reach more listeners in the United States, this is the way to do it. Also, if you use a VPN, you can also listen if you just want to hear what Pandora's like, hear what people are hearing when they listen to your music on Pandora, you can use a VPN. As mentioned before, we have an entire support team that does nothing but help AMP users, help creators, amp-support at pandora.com. Awesome team, very efficient. Um, Ask them anything, and if they don't have an answer, they'll direct you to someone who does. As I mentioned before, Pandora is an website, or sorry, AMP is a website, not an application. So amp.pandora.com, that's where you go. And I just said application like an old man. Um, uh, amp.pandora.com. That's where you go to sign up for AMP. That's where you go to claim your AMP profile. That's where you go to use AMP. So definitely once you're set up, bookmark that. And we also have something called the AMP Playbook, which is basically everything we're going to talk about today and more, like step-by-step guides on how to use the tools, best practices, everything you need to run any sort of campaign, use any of the tools can be found at ampplaybook.com. And both AMP and the AMP Playbook are getting revamped right now. So Michelle will talk a little bit about it, but we have tons of new features for people who've heard this all before. And the playbook is getting a whole new overhaul, better like user interface, nicer look. We're really excited about that moving forward. Also, we have our own socials. So one thing we encourage people to do when you have a new record, a new single, a new video, you're going on tour, anything important, please be sure and tag us because we're always looking to amplify and share and repost. So Michelle just posted those in the chat as well. But just make sure and tag us because we also do a lot of featuring artists on different stations, and this is a way that we also find artists to feature. So if you tag us, you have a new album, we connect, we can often, feature you on a tile for a station and hopefully get some new ears and eyes on what you're doing. Um, this I just threw up here so you guys could take a snapshot or write it down or however you remember things. There's Pandora, or sorry, I keep doing that. There's AMP, there's the playbook, there's AMP support, and there's my email, one of my emails. I'll give you another one that's easier to remember. But these are sort of all the critical emails you need for AMP. Um, I guess I put the old one there, but yeah, you can either use this email or Andy, ANDE at Pandora.com. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to help. I'm also happy to just chat and give you some guidance and share some of my wisdom if that's something you're interested in. We also have a creator community, which has really kind of blown up. I really suggest once you sign up for AMP, you also join the creator community. It's really fun. It's a great place to share what you're doing, but also find answers from other users to questions you might have or troubles you might be having using the tools. It's a really, really great resource and it's really fun. And our whole team is in there as well. Let's see. All right, so now we're going to get into it. The AMP tools. I'm going to give you a quick run through so we leave some time at the end for questions. Um, Probably our most popular tool and the one that's sort of a foundational tool in our tool set is the featured track. And what that allows you to do is take a song and boost its spins. The algorithm puts it in front of new listeners, adventurous listeners, listeners who tend to like music like yours. It really is simple and easy. Again, it's free. You just push a button, select the song, and boom, you can see 10 extra spins, 100 extra spins, 1,000, a million. Kind of depends on who you are and how many spins you have. Every artist gets 6 featured tracks per year. If you have multiple artists like Holiday or Children, each one of those artists gets 6 per year. They just renew at the end of the year. So I would suggest always using them because they just go away if you don't use them. They're automatically set for 2-month campaigns. You can set them shorter if you want. If you have a tour or an event, you just can't set them longer. These are the only feature tracks are the only tool that have requirements. Every other thing we're going to talk about, you could literally go in AMP and run right now. Feature tracks have 2 requirements. One is that your song has spun 10 times in the last week on radio. And the only reason we do that is for new artists and new songs to make sure the algorithm has something to go on when it's recommending your music. If you already have lots of spins on Pandora, you can kind of assume you're going to, fulfill that requirement. But for smaller artists, sometimes hitting the 10 spin uh, minimum is challenging. We have ways to help you do that. And the other requirement is that the song has to be released within the last 365 days. We are working on getting rid of that requirement. So hopefully, if you have a song that goes viral on TikTok, or if you have a Christmas song that you did 10 years ago, we want to make it easier for you to feature older tracks. So hopefully that requirement will be going away soon. And also with featured tracks, I highly suggest if you only leave here with one thing is go claim your AMP account and run a featured track. It's super easy. It takes literally 30 seconds to sign up and it can be really impactful. The other sort of foundational tool in the tool set is the artist audio message. This also informs kind of all of our other tools. It allows you to record a message in your own voice and speak directly to fans. You can make an intro to a single. You can just check in with people. Like during the pandemic, it was a big deal, like just being able to make sure everyone was okay and letting them know you were still around, making music, doing things. You can you can you can really be creative and do anything you want. It's just a way to really personalize your relationship with listeners. It really helps with new songs too. If you introduce it, introduce yourself, give the song a little context. They can be really, really powerful in getting people not to skip and getting them to listen longer. We've done some research that has demonstrated that. My cats are going crazy. Um, Artist audio message, you can have up to 10 playing at once. That and we have guardrails in place, so no one's suddenly going to get 10 messages from you, but it allows you to sort of experiment and maybe see what resonates with your fans. They have to be less than 15 seconds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's definitely enough to do like, hey, this is Andy. You're listening to Pandora. You're about to hear my new single. I have too many cats. It's all about how cats are breaking everything in my kitchen. I hope you like it. Give it a thumbs up if you do. That was probably like 12 seconds. So definitely worth doing. They can be attached or unattached, like I mentioned, an intro, an outro, or just floating around as a just a message that pops up when people are listening to your station. And they play at random on radio. This is all these tools. There's two ways to listen to Pandora. There's radio listening, which is the way most people listen, and there's on-demand subscription listening. All of these tools exist on the radio side, which is good because like 99% of people listen on the radio side. I have a couple examples or a few examples of some artist audio messages. This is what they look like, exactly what you would see on your phone if you heard one of these messages, and I'll play them so you can hear what they sound like.
Hi, this is Leah from Sweet Potato Music. We have some adorable album merch you're not going to want to miss out on, like t-shirts, vinyl, stickers, bubbles, even parachutes. Thanks for listening to Pandora.
And besides the cuteness of that message, really having merch that includes bubbles and parachutes is kind of unbeatable. This next one, you'll see there's no link on the bottom, so they didn't. Oh, I forgot to mention that, but I should back up. Sorry, I'm trying to zip through this so Michelle has plenty of time. The cool thing about artist audio messages as well is that you can have a clickable, tappable link. So even if you're just saying, "Hey, everybody, this is me. You're listening to me on Pandora," you can still include a link on the screen that sends them to your website, to your merch page, to tickets, to your Bandcamp. We can send you anywhere except to competitors, but it can be really, really powerful. And you can also use it to redirect their listening internally. So if they're listening to your new single, you can say, "Oh yeah, this is my new single. I also made this playlist. If you want to check it out, tap on the screen now," and you can redirect them internally in Pandora, which is really cool. But you don't have to include a link. This is an example from Zach Brown with no link, but just a message to his listeners.
Hey, this is Zach from Zach Brown Band. This is our brand new song on Pandora. If you like it, I'd sure appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up.
And then this last one is just an example of how you can be creative. And if you're a funny band, you can have a funny message.
Hi, this is Earth Sound Lover. Thanks for listening to Pandora Radio. Hi, this is Earth Sound Lover. Thanks for listening to Pandora Radio. Hi, this is Earth Sound Lover. Thanks for listening to Pandora Radio. Hi, this is Earth Sound Lover. Thanks for listening to Pandora Radio.
So yeah, so those are three ways you can communicate with your listeners. And again, you can be really, really creative. You can say whatever you want. You can be funny. You can be serious. You can, give some background to your song. Just talk about you. Whatever you can fit into 15 seconds. Another tool that's related and is actually not exactly a tool is promote singles. I know it's ironic because those things we just shared, each of those promote singles, but our in AMP promote singles is those two tools combined into a single campaign. So if you're going to feature a track and add an artist audio message, then you can use the promote single tool to do it all in one interface. You can do them separate, like you could feature a track and then a week later add a voice track. But this way, it makes it easier to sort of follow and look back on it as a single campaign and see how it performed. And featured tracks, this does count. Promote singles does count towards the 6 featured tracks that you get every year. Hopefully that makes sense. I used to play examples of this, but they look and sound exactly like the artist audio message. The only difference is that now with these in the background, the feature track algorithm is boosting spins. But in every other way, they look and sound exactly the same.
Hi, this is
So I'm going to skip those. We also have an amazing tool called Promote Shows, which for someone like me who's been touring for 30 years is mind blowing. We partner we partner with some online ticketing agencies. So if you have tickets online for sale, and you go into the Promote Shows tool, you just enter a city, like let's say Chicago, and it will automatically populate with uh, the venue, let's say the Empty Bottle, December 15th, with a link specifically to tickets to that Empty Bottle show, and it will already be geo-targeted to every single listener you've ever had in the Chicago area. Then all you do is record a message that says, "Hey, Chicago, we're going to be there in December. Well, it's December in a week, so come see us. Thanks." Boop. Um, Post it, and boom, you've hit everyone in Chicago who's listening to your music with a ticket link to the show in their area. So essentially, you could promote an entire U.S. tour in a matter of like 30 or 45 minutes. It's really amazing. And Michelle will show you. We have a heat map that's actually a shortcut where you look on the map, and if you have a ticket to a show, there'll be a little flag, and you just click on the flag. It opens Promote Shows, and you can promote your show, and you can just go boop boop through the flags until you've promoted your whole tour. Super amazing, especially if you're an old hand at this and you used to send tapes and faxes and letters and use payphones. This is like makes life so easy for promoting shows. This is probably one of our favorite tools. Every artist who signs up for AMP is automatically given a creator slash curator account and given the ability to create Pandora stories, which is basically a hosted playlist or a hosted station where you can play any music, your music, music you like, and then add your own voice tracks. It's sort of like hacking yourself a playlist or hacking yourself a podcast or a radio show. You can do a track by track walkthrough of your latest album. You can also just do here's the stuff we listened to in the van on tour. You can also you can do anything you want. This is sort of the most beautiful tool we have because it allows you to be super creative. And instead of just hitting up fans to buy your record, you're creating original content for them and sharing it with them. And I think it's really an awesome way to sort of keep you top of mind. Like if you just make a mix every few weeks of the music that's been, you know, blowing your mind and share it with your listeners. It just reminds them that you're there and it reminds them to buy your record and to see you when you're on tour. It's really, really fun. Here are some examples of some Pandora stories, some of our favorites. A lot of these are just, walkthroughs of new albums. Some are samplers of compilations. The cool thing about this tool too is it's the only tool in AMP that if you're not a musician, you can still use. If you're a creator and music is part of your creative process, you can use Pandora stories to tell your story. So if you're a chef, you can play the songs that you listen to in the kitchen and share recipes. Some of these here are actually authors just reading from their book and sharing music. Um, Sometimes created for the project, sometimes just their favorite songs by an artist. Michelle made this one, which is one of my favorite all-time Pandora stories, which is you'll probably recognize that's Jimi Hendrix. And while it is a Pandora story about Jimi Hendrix, it's hosted by Bunny Carlos, who's the drummer from Cheap Trick, who just so happens to be the world's foremost expert on Jimi Hendrix. So it's the drummer from Cheap Trick telling cool stories about Jimi Hendrix and playing his favorite obscure Jimi Hendrix songs. And Michelle introduces it too, which makes it even more special. But really, really fun and a really cool example of what you can do with Pandora stories. Um, and that's what it looks like when a listener gets in there to start it. And then, sorry, we're really whipping through this quickly. We do webinars every month where we spend 90 minutes doing this, but just want to give everyone time to digest it and give Michelle time to really show you the bells and whistles. The one thing I did want to mention before I hand it over to Michelle is there's two parts of AMP. We talk a lot about the tools and about running campaigns and how effective those can be. But the other thing about AMP is it is your source of data, all things data. Everything you want to know about your song and how it performs on Pandora, that's what AMP is for. You can go really deep into each track, who's listening, how they discovered it, where they heard it, what other artist stations are playing your music. all kinds of really actionable data that can inform decisions like who to play with, who to collaborate with, where to play on tour, etc. It's really, really fantastic and really, really like a crazy deep dive into everything you wanted to know about how your music is performing on Pandora. So I'm going to hand it over to Michelle now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so she can take over. Um, I hope that wasn't too fast, but I really wanted to make it through and leave some time for questions at the end. So, Michelle.
Yeah. Amazing. Thanks so much, Andy. So now that you've seen what AMP can do, let's dive into the dashboard itself. This is going to be the central hub where you'll access all of these tools and insights. So I'm just going to walk you through it. So as soon as you log into AMP, that's amp.pandora.com, you'll land on a homepage. We updated this just a few months ago. We're constantly rolling out new features and new updates, which you'll see later on as well. But this homepage makes it easier for you to stay on top of your tracks, campaigns, and programs, and just overall artist activity. It's a great way if you're like a label or a manager to manage your creator roster. So if you have multiple artists that you've claimed, they all show up here, and it surfaces the artists you engage with the most, especially those with recent activity. So you can quickly access the most relevant data without having to dig. You can also favorite specific tracks, like let's say your latest single, to keep them front and center on your homepage. Favoriting a track makes it really easy to monitor its streaming performance, check track details, and see which editorial stations and playlists it's been added to, all without having to dig through your catalog. You also get an at a glance view of your campaigns. So these are what Andy showed you, the featured tracks, artist audio messages. You can filter them and even favorite specific ones to track their performance more easily. This is especially useful during a release cycle when you're, juggling multiple assets. You can quickly see what's live and how it's performing all in one place. And finally, you can also track your curated programs. These are your Pandora stories right from the homepage. Just like tracks and campaigns, you can filter by status, you can favorite individual programs and monitor overall activity engagement. Again, it's a great way to stay on top of your storytelling content, especially if you're using voice commentary or thematic mixes to connect with fans. And if you ever need help or a refresher, just scroll down to the bottom of the homepage. You'll find direct links to the AMP playbook. That's our go-to resource with quick tutorials, how-to guides, and FAQs. So to access the full AMP dashboard for a specific artist, just scroll to the top of the homepage, click on a creator from your list, and here you are. So this is where you access everything: insights, campaigns, programs, track data, and more. So if you are ready to start using the AMP tools right away, like Andy said, like if you leave this webinar with anything, feature a track. So if you are ready to feature a track and you want to do that, click the Create Plus bubble to open a drop-down menu with all the tools available. So that's artist audio messages, featured tracks, and more. All right, so we're going to take a look at the tabs real quick, starting from the left. The first stop is the Insights tab. So in the Insights tab, you can manage your notifications, you can manage your artist subscriptions here, and choose which updates you want to receive by email. So instead of logging into AMP, we have email updates as well that go directly to your inbox. So you can opt into 3. First, there's an at the moment email. This gives you real-time alerts. Like, for example, when an artist that you follow is added to an editorial program, like a playlist or a station. There's also a week in review email, a Monday digest with streaming metrics, track activity, and campaign updates. We also have milestones. These are special alerts when a track hits a big moment, like entering the Million Streams Club. And then really important, follow artists. This is so you can receive any of these notifications. You'll need to make sure that you're following the artist. So make sure you have. It's a really great way to stay updated without constantly needing to log into AMP. So when you receive a milestone notification, it includes a custom visual asset in multiple sizes that you can download and share on your socials or with your team. We only have 1 million streams right now. We are continuing to roll out new types of milestones. So I definitely recommend you opting in, making sure you're following an artist. It's an easy way to celebrate these big moments with your audience. So on the Insights tab, you'll see high-level artist data, including a list of top collaborations. So if you have been featured or on tracks with others, those profiles will show up here. They are separate profiles on AMP. So you'll be able to click through and view insights for those collaborators as well. You can hide them too if you want. This is especially useful for managers or label teams, keeping track of featured appearances across artist project. Everything stays connected and is easy to access in one place. So further down the tab, you'll find a gallery view of editorial placements showing where your tracks have been added by Pandora's programming team. And each tile includes the program art, a list of placed tracks, and a shareable link you can use for promotion. So we can address this after my presentation, but one of the frequently asked questions we get is, how do I get on a Pandora playlist or station? We don't currently have an official way to pitch music to our programming team, but we're going to discuss other ways you can do that just when I finish here. You will also find interactive performance graphs that show how your music is doing on Pandora over time. You can adjust the time range and filter by key metrics like streams, thumbs, listeners, and station ads. And you can choose between a line or a bar graph, depending on how you like to visualize your data. And a big plus with this is you can download CSV reports directly from AMP, which makes it easy to analyze or share with your team. AMP also surfaces your top 5 tracks right in the Insight tab, so you can instantly see what's resonating most with your audience. You'll see the artwork, total stream counts, and if you click into any of them, it'll take you to that track's reporting page for a deeper dive. I will show you what that track level view looks like shortly. But this top 5 section is a quick glance snapshot of just checking momentum, so it's very helpful. And one of the most powerful tools in Insights is the audience map. It shows you where your fans are located across the US based on streams, thumbs up, and artist station creations. This is incredibly helpful for planning out tour stops, understanding regional fan bases, and targeting specific cities with specific geospecific artist audio messages. That's our promote show tool. So once you've booked a show, if you go to this heat map, you'll see the little pins on the city. And if you select those pins, it'll take you directly to create a promote show campaign. You can even download the data as a CSV, which makes it easy to share with your team, or your label, manager, or booking agent. All right, so let's jump into the campaign tab. Here's where you'll find all of your past and present campaigns. So those are your artist audio messages, featured tracks, sorted by when they were last edited. You can filter by status. All right, so let's select one, and one that's already been published so you can see the performance details. You'll see real-time performance metrics like the total number of listeners who have heard your message or track. If you select Show More, you'll get access to deeper insights, including data graphs over time, so you can track the performance across different date ranges. This kind of data is really valuable. It helps you understand what's working and gives you a chance to tweak the timing, messaging, and targeting of future campaigns. Next up is the Programs tab. This is where you can manage, excuse me, your Pandora stories, which are listed as programs in AMP. You won't actually see the words Pandora stories anywhere on the dashboard, just programs. That wasn't our decision. But in short, this tab is where you can go to view, create, and update any hosted storytelling content you've published through AMP. So this is your hub for curated playlists and stations. Whether you're walking listeners through a new album, sharing influences, or spotlighting older tracks with stories behind them. So you'll see a list of what you've created, sorted by most recently edited. You can filter by status. Each listing includes a quick glance stat like number of tracks in the program, weekly listener count and trends, average minutes listened per listener, and the date it was last updated. So let's select one to see what the program details look like. You'll see a summary view with program title and artwork, high-level engagement stats, and most importantly, a share link if the program has been published, which makes it easy to point directly to social media or copy a direct link to share anywhere. And Show More gives you a deeper performance breakdown. In the expanded view, you'll get a month-by-month snapshot of your program's performance, including unique listeners, total spins, average session length. This view helps you see how your content is resonating over time, whether listeners are sticking around and staying engaged. Yeah, we realize these graphs may look a little dry, but they're really useful when planning future content. Over time, you can spot which types of stories or themes hit hardest with your audience and really use that to like shape what you create next. So next up is the catalog tab. This is where you're going to find track level reporting for every track that's getting spins on Pandora. It is by far one of the most data rich sections of AMP and gives you a really granular view of how listeners are engaging with each of your individual tracks, whether it's a brand new single or a deep catalog cut. And you can use this to spot patterns, track momentum, or compare how different songs are performing side by side. But first, I wanted to call out some new features in this view that were rolled out recently, like yesterday. So, in addition to a fresh look, there are some great new selection options, including grouping and filtering, and the ability to view pre release content in AMP for the very first time. The goal here is to help you understand what's working when and why so you can make more informed decisions around releases and promotions. So, yeah, the biggest update is that you can now see pre-release content inside AMP for the very first time. So any upcoming tracks you've delivered will appear in your catalog tab right alongside the rest of your catalog, and it'll be grayed out until release day. Share links are not available yet, but that's something we plan to offer in a future update. This gives you a much easier look at what's coming down the pipeline so you can plan your rollout with more clarity. You also have new ways to organize your catalog view so it reflects how you think about your music. You can group by track, which shows all instances of a recording. You can also group by album, which organizes your catalog by release and lets you open each project to see the individual tracks. And there's a new track group option that collects all versions of the same song in one place and shows you cumulative streams across those versions. So it's a much easier way to get a real picture of how a song is performing across your entire catalog. So this is where you do the organizing. Excuse me. We also have enhanced filtering that lets you set up your catalog tab to show exactly what you want to focus on. So you can filter by all, by recently added to lift your newest tracks to the top, or pre-release if you're gearing up for a launch. You still have full date range controls, and there's now a year-to-date button as well that gives you a quick snapshot of how your catalog is performing this year. These filters help you spend less time hunting for information and more time really zeroing in on which tracks matters the most to you right now. So on this page, you'll see a table of every track that has activity on the platform. For each song, you'll get lifetime streams, month over month streams with percent change, release date, and a direct share link you can use in your promo. Think of this as your quick snapshot of what's happening across your entire body of work. So let's continue on. Now, when you select a track, this gives you an even deeper breakdown. It really gives you kind of the meat and potatoes of the track. At the top of the track details page, you'll see high-level stats. So streams, station ads, thumbs up, unique listeners, a quick read on how well the track is performing and how listeners are responding. Beneath that, you'll see a daily trends graph and a source breakdown, which shows where the streams are coming from: autoplay, stations, search, etc. You can adjust the date range to focus on a campaign window or a key moment in a song's life cycle. And then further down, this is really where you strike gold. This is the stream sources pie chart. It shows exactly how listeners are discovering your track on Pandora. And they're broken into three main buckets. So first is algorithmic, which is something you really want to see because this refers to streams driven by Pandora's recommendation engine powered by the Music Genome Project and listener behavior. It's a really strong indicator that your track is gaining organic momentum and being surfaced to new relevant listeners. So yeah, the more algorithmic streams, more discoveries happening. Next in the pie chart is editorial. So these are through curated genre stations and playlists placements by Pandora's programming team. And then there's organic. So this is when a listener seeks out your music directly, like playing it on demand or from your artist station. we say this is really one of the most actionable data points in AMP. It really helps you figure out what's driving discovery, what listener pathways are working, and how to really refine your program strategy, your promotion strategy, touring plans, or even future collaborations. So, for example, with this specific song data we're looking at, this is a Milky Chance song. You see it's getting discovered through stations seeded by 21 Pilots, Gorillas, Alt J, so bigger artists. That kind of insight tells you a lot about who your audience overlaps with and who they might want to hear you next to. And that can really help inform, tour routing, marketing language, or even who you might want to collaborate with next. This new update that rolled out yesterday also brings a more powerful version of, like I said, this really brings a whole powerful version of track reporting the AMP. You can also scroll down at the bottom of the page where you'll find track milestones, which call out key achievements for that song. So that's like the Million Streams Club that I showed you earlier. At the bottom of the track reporting page, you'll get a custom shareable asset you can use to celebrate and promote that moment. These, again, upgrades are all about giving you a clearer insight into ways uh, into your music and more ways to really recognize the wins along the way. Excuse me. And lastly, the profile tab. This is where you can manage how your Pandora artist page looks to fans. So it includes tools to help you personalize your presence, like adding a bio, uploading a press photo, or linking out to your socials, all of which can help you better connect with listeners and make really a strong first impression. So over on the left-hand side of the profile tab, you can update your Pandora artist image. This is the main visual that fans will see across the platform. So it's a good one to keep current and up to date. This is also where you can grab a direct link to your Pandora artist page. So this is really useful for artists who are based outside of the US. Even though Pandora is streaming in US only, AMP is accessible globally. So having that direct artist link is really great for sharing on social media, adding to an EPK, or including in a press release. One of our new features in the profile tab is called Spotlight Picks. It gives you more control over what fans see when they land on your Pandora page. So you can choose up to 10 pieces of content from across Pandora's catalog. So things like a new single, a new album, or a playlist or station where your music is featured, or even a podcast that you're a part of. A really great way to guide listeners to your priority content and really highlighting what's important right now. You can schedule spotlight picks in advance by setting start and end dates. Really helpful if you're coordinating with a release day, a tour launch, or a campaign rollout. You can plan ahead. And here's what it looks like on the listener's end. Your spotlight picks show up in a scrollable carousel right at the top of your page. So it's really prime real estate. Custom artist bios. So this has been one of our most requested updates, and we finally made it happen. You can write and publish your own bios directly in AMP. In the past, we were pulling from allmusic.com, and that was kind of a pain in the butt to get a bio written. So you can tell your story in your own words and in your own voice. So a really great way to give fans context, add personality to your profile, and highlight what makes you unique. And lastly, you can add a high-res cover photo to your Pandora page, a really great way to show off personality, reinforce branding, and make the page really stand out to listeners. It looks really great. There's also just a few quick guidelines. The cover photo must feature you, the artist or band, no logos, artwork, or text-only graphics. There's an approval time for bios and images, 1 to 2 business days, and you must, of course, own the rights to the photo in order to upload it. All right, I think that's it for me. Do you want me to go over AMP Fresh Cuts real quick, or should we just have a conversation about pitching music to programmers, since that's the big, most frequently asked question?
Yeah, maybe that. The one thing I would mention though that I've seen multiple questions about, and maybe people just missed the beginning, but Pandora is technically, well, not even technically, Pandora is US only. So as a listener, you can only listen to Pandora in the US, but AMP is available everywhere in the world. So even if you're an artist in Canada or the UK or Australia or Africa or wherever, you can still claim your AMP account. You can still see your data. You can run campaigns. You can use the tools. Everything we've talked about today is available to you no matter where you are. It's just as a listener, you can only listen in the US. And we have a massive listener audience in the US. So if you're looking to reach more fans in the US and break in the US, then Pandora is definitely worth your time, and these tools will definitely help you uh, make some progress in that pursuit. So just remember that yes, Pandora is US only, AMP is international. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
Michelle,
can
do you want to speak to?
yeah, absolutely. I'll reshare my screen here. So yeah, so I think, as we're moving into Q&A, like we get this question all the time, how do I get playlisted on Pandora? Since there's no formal pitch form, like I mentioned, guess what? Our team is made up of programmers, you heard. We also work closely with Pandora's programming team, and we keep an eye out for artists using AMP in creative ways. So that being said, our team does own and curate a station called AMP Fresh Cuts, dedicated to new music from independent and up-and-coming AMP users. Basically, all of you independent artists. It's a really great discovery space for listeners and a really great starting point for building momentum on Pandora. So we consider music that's been released in the last 2 months, so timing really matters. If you want your track to be considered, the best way is to tag us on socials or reach out to Andy, um, especially on Instagram, either in like stories or feed posts. Tagging the Pandora AMP account on your socials is a really great way to also just let fans know to stream, thumb up your track, and support you on Pandora. And we do check these tags, so when we love resharing artist wins. So as I posted in the chat, we are active on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, and TikTok. I help run those accounts. We post feature announcements, highlight cool AMP programs, and amplify what you're doing. So tag us and we're likely going to reshare.
And I just reposted my email in the chat. So if you want you know, if you want to submit your music for playlist consideration, you can submit it to me. Send a one sheet or an EPK or whatever you have, and I will get it in front of the right programmer. We don't really have, as Michelle mentioned, we don't really have a process or any sort of page designed for that. So, in lieu of that, we've decided to just take it upon ourselves to help you get your music in front of the right programmer. So, send it to me. There's no guarantee there. You know, it's easier with Michelle was saying, it's easier with us because she programs jazz, I program metal and punk and experimental, and Eric programs blues and singer-songwriter. So, if it's one of those genres, our programmers or us tend to be a lot more accessible. But if you're, pop or country or something like that, the best we can do is forward it, get it in front of the right programmer. It's coming from a trusted source, i.e., me, which is, I think, better for them than just a blind email. And it gives it a little bit more likelihood that they'll check it out. But beyond that, it's just, we will get it in front of them, and then it's up to the programmer to decide if they want to program it. Ultimately, what were some other frequently asked questions? Um,
Yeah, and do we want to address like the SiriusXM connection as well, just because it will
oh yeah,
likely get
sure.
asked? Yeah, so if you don't know, we were acquired by SiriusXM a couple years ago. We are still a separate entity, although most of our programming team are also that program for both SiriusXM and Pandora. So, like Andy said, like especially with the bigger genres, if you're like a country artist or a hip hop artist, and you forward your music to Andy, he will forward it to the programmer who will most likely be programming for SiriusXM and Pandora. So there's a little bit of cross work now and integration. I'm the jazz programmer for Pandora, and I have counterparts at SiriusXM. They generally see what I program, and I see what they program. So it's a great way, an opportunity, especially if you're killing it on Pandora, to get noticed by SiriusXM programmers as well, even though they program a little differently
Yeah, I think
at
it's worth
SiriusXM.
mentioning that the reason, Sirius is satellite, Pandora is streaming, and you as an artist actually have agency on Pandora. Like my bands have stations on Pandora, your bands have stations on Pandora, but none of us really have stations on Sirius because Sirius is more like FM radio where, whoever, John Mayer, Red Hot Chili Peppers, those are the stations there. We are working on trying to make some inroads there and get more kind of like channels that play up and coming artists for artists like me and Michelle and you. So that is something that we're working on. But for now, the best way you can do is I saw a very vague question in the chat about like hey, I've had 5 singles and I have a new single advice. And really the advice is everything we presented today is, feature it as a track, make an intro for it, maybe make a story about all the music that influenced the making of your new record and share that with your fans. Um, that's all stuff you can do with these tools to sort of get more people listening and noticing your music on Pandora. And by doing that, like Michelle said, if suddenly you're spinning like crazy on Pandora, the serious programmers will notice and then they'll start programming it as well. So it's really, we need to take advantage of the fact that you have lots of control over your career and your music and essentially your listenership on Pandora. And that's kind of what these tools were designed for. Um, but yeah, we have about I guess 10 minutes left if anyone has
Yeah.
any other questions.
Do we want to mention that we're going to be at the conference in January?
Oh, I guess it's worth mentioning because someone asked if we made time to do like one-on-ones with people, and honestly, this will be what our third year at Focal
Third,
Length,
yeah.
and we have a booth. There'll be three of me, Michelle, and Eric will be there. Eric's not here, but Eric will be there. We will be there every day, all day at the booth. We're also hosting 2 showcases on Friday and Saturday night. Um, and we'll just be around. So at any of those times, you can come to the booth. Either Michelle or Eric or I, you can take us aside and we can dig really deep into whatever is going on with your music. We're really accessible. I think we might be doing some other like shorter, smaller group sessions, but totally feel free, to email AMP support, to email me, and to come to us at the booth and be like, hey, can we sit for a minute and talk? And we can go find a spot, um, and really just dig in and help you get to where you need to be with Pandora and even beyond. So, I see another question. Or Tisha, do we need to?
No, you guys still have 7 minutes, so I was gonna.
Yeah.
There's Mike Green and Barb Schupert both have questions in the
Yeah.
Q&A.
Oh, shoot, I wasn't even looking at that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um,
Oh, I did. Is there a way to? Oh, I did that already. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Someone asked about taking down music. That's generally requires what we call a takedown notice, and that's something you can organize with your distributor, whether it's CD Baby or the Orchard or whoever that is. You can just reach out and say, and they'll issue it. They'll do all the work for you. That is why you pay them. We get a lot of questions about how to deal with royalties and how to deal with takedowns and stuff. To be on Pandora, you definitely have a distributor, whether it's CD Baby or DistroKid or whoever. You are paying them, and you are paying them to help you with that stuff. So definitely lean on your rep at your distributor with takedowns. It's really easy. They can also redeliver music with updated metadata. Like they can really take care of all that stuff for you. So,
and also
oh, I
reach
was
out
gonna,
to our AMP support team as well. Like they're equipped. They know a lot more than we do, especially on like the royalties side. So yeah, you can always reach out to them and they can advise as well.
Mike, when you say, I need a little clarity, when you say post new songs that aren't on an album, if that's just a single, then yeah, lots of artists just release singles. My band releases mostly singles and EPs. I think we've done like 20 or 25 singles and EPs in one album. So it just really depends what you want to do and what kind of artist you are. But yeah, singles, you can use all these tools for singles too.
Mhm.
You can feature it as a track, you can add a voice message, you can do all the same stuff with that. Um, hopefully that makes sense. And then Peter has the same kind of question. Suggestions on how to do a new release is the same thing. Like when the release drops, once you have enough spins, feature it. When you
Mhm.
share it on socials, tag us so we can
Yeah.
repost and potentially add it to fresh cuts. Um, Maybe add a voice track as an intro. Like everything we talked about today is all stuff that I think is relevant to promoting a new song.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And really utilize your social media and share your Pandora artists like you would like, your Spotify links or your Apple links. Like share your Pandora stations as well and encourage your fans to like thumb up your track and actually engage with your track. And that helps give you more organic spins as well. So you can
um,
utilize feature tracks.
yeah. And Lori, that's not a stupid question. If you're talking about
No.
AMP, There is no fee for AMP. Everything we talked about today is free. As an artist, everything is free. You just sign up for AMP. You have access to stories. You have access to all the tools. You have access to us. Even if you don't sign up, you still have access to us. But yeah, there's no charge. But the as a listener, you can sign up for Pandora for free, which is how most people listen and ad supported, and that's where all these tools exist. You can't We do have different tiers of listening, so as a listener you can pay a monthly fee and have no ads or more skips. There's a middle subscription that just gives you extra skips, and then there's like I forgot what it's called, the higher tier, where I think it's $10 a month, and it's like on demand. Then it's just like Spotify or whoever. But as an artist and with AMP, there's no fee at all. Totally free. And worth mentioning too that these are the exact same tools that we use to promote Drake and Beyonce and every superstar. We just, we worked really hard to make these tools accessible to working musicians like you and like us. So you're using the same tools. Obviously, we don't all have the same reach, but the potential is there. The tools are really powerful. Um, and again, they're the same tools we use for everything. So it's just really, with consistently using the tools and running campaigns and following up with social posts can be really hugely effective. So, um, Peter, I think to get the 10 streams, if you're a new artist and you're struggling to get the 10 streams, one way you can do it is to email us or tag us, and then we'll often be able to add you to Fresh Cuts. And one of the reasons
Mhm.
Michelle mentioned Fresh Cuts exists, A, it's a fun listen, but B, it also helps smaller artists get to that 10 spin minimum. And also, really, it's just sharing your link to your Pandora station, like Michelle was mentioning. Like, whenever you're going to mention Spotify, whenever you're going to mention Apple, be sure to include the Pandora link, or make a separate post with just the Pandora link to kind of boost and goose that number to try to get up to that 10 spins. And remember too that the 10 spins is only when you're doing the tool. So if you don't want to feature it for a month or something, but you hit the 10 spin minimum, you can go in there and set it up. As long as the 10 spin minimum is there, you can set it up for the future. And hey, I want to do that December 25th, and you can set it ahead of time and be done. Set it and forget it.
We also have a prompt when you do go in to feature a track to maybe wait 4 to 6 weeks after your track has been released. We say that just because, like, the more listener feedback your track gets, like, thumbs and engagement, the more Pandora will recommend it across the platform, and that's what really makes the featured tracks tool even more powerful. So that's why we suggest waiting, especially if you're an independent artist, waiting 4 to 6 weeks after your single has been released to use the featured track tool.
And Barb, for fresh cuts, obviously fresh cuts are fresh, so that's why we have the 2 month minimum. It basically, from our side, it's sort of based on the metadata release date.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter where else you posted or where else you shared it, but it's when it was officially available to listeners. And usually that's built into the metadata. Like, oh, it came out December 1st, so that's plenty of time. But if it came out at the beginning of the summer, you should still tag us and still share it, because we'll still
Yeah.
amplify stuff you're doing. It just might not That song might not be ideal for fresh cuts. That's just in the interest of making it a new music station, that's kind of what we decided. And then Rigby, who's the awesomest,
Oh,
Rigby, we met the very first Folk Alliance, and we hung out at the closing night party, and I think it was your husband or your partner who was obsessed with trains, and he and I nerded out on trains for like an hour. But Rigby's the raddest.
yeah.
Yeah, we have thought about Rigby's asking if, since so many people are leaving Spotify because of the whole like war machine thing. It's hard because I think every huge company to some degree or another is like embroiled in weird politics. Like Sirius is a weird company, or the company that owns Sirius. When Pandora got bought, there were a lot of people who were like, "Oh, I don't know," because Pandora was so like homegrown and hippie. But I think what at least this team, we recognize the limits of streaming. We know that streaming set out to be something, and now it's something else, and it's really, the royalty rate is not great. It's a lot of things, but we are trying to do the best we can from within. Like, as a team, we're willing to give you everything we have in terms of support and help. And like, we really, like, we're also all artists and we're all doing the same thing. Like, I have a new album coming out, I have a tour coming up. I'm struggling to figure out how to afford things and make money and thinking about royalties. So we're all in the thick of it with you. Um, Thanks, Gene, for noticing my skulls. Um, but so really, yeah. So Rigby, we are thinking about that. I think as a company, I don't know how much they're aligned with that stuff, but as artists and as artists who have music on Spotify and who've also been thinking about taking music on Spotify, we're definitely thinking about ways we can do it within like what the responsibilities we have. Like we don't have as much control
Yeah.
over the behemoth that is SiriusXM, but in terms of Pandora and AMP, we're very cognizant of that. And we, like I said, right now we're doing the best we can by giving you us, like you have total access to us and everything we can do to help you with your careers. I think that goes a long way. Like you will never reach out to Pandora and talk to a machine. You'll talk to a human being and you'll see us at events and we'll be friends and we'll nerd out about trains. Like that's something you don't get from Spotify. So I think that's really special and we'll continue to try to explore ways to keep making it special.
I hate to jump in here, but it is 102, so I want to respect everybody's time. But yeah, thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Andy, for all the tips on how best to use
Of
Pandora Amp.
course.
As we mentioned in the chat, both Andy and Michelle will be in New Orleans,
And Eric,
or
yeah, all three of us. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
they will be in New Orleans for Focal Nights 2026. So bring your questions to them. They will be in the exhibit hall as well as doing programming during the day. I also want to thank our attendees for joining and investing in this space with us with good questions and coming to this webinar today. As a reminder, a recording of today's webinar will be available on our YouTube channel later this month. So be sure to subscribe to our newsletter and to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss it. On a final note, our year-round online offerings are provided at no cost to our community, thanks to the generosity of donors. So if you would like to support our work, donations can be made at the link in the chat. Stay safe and connected, everyone. We will look forward to seeing you at future Focal Alliance events. Thank y'all.
Oh,
Thanks,
thank you
everyone.
so much.
See you in January.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays.